Yo, Prof here, and we're back with another video. If this time it is going to be on some more Japanese music importing from Japan. If you guys are interested in EDC, maybe check out the previous video on this guy right here, Tactile Knife Co. Really cool topographical, stylized knife right there. We're going to put these two away. And we're going to use this one for a bit because it's the new one. You got to use the new one when it comes in. Just like when the new seasonal pen comes out. I use it until the next seasonal pen comes out. Obviously. What do we have there? We have another big, wide, and flat box from Japan. You probably know what's in it then, right? Okay, we have what MCM, or Mighty Car Mods, calls the brown bondage tape, which is duct tape in Japan. In the US, it is generally like gray silver, sometimes black. Yeah, in Japan it's brown. Yeah, this isn't like, well, it's box packing tape, but if you look at the texture, it is not like we have box packing tape in the US that's like this reinforced kind of I would say it's semi-clear almost, translucent maybe. I forget what it's got a lot of fibers in it. You can't really rip it. You have to cut it with a blade of some kind. And that's why it's used on boxes. And if you guys are wondering, like when you tape up a cardboard box, duct tape is usually bad at doing such a thing. We have a kitten on top of the package we're opening at the moment. Paisley Marie, what are you doing? You're gonna sharpen your claws on the camera phone stand. Yeah. Okay. Can I please be right where you are at the moment? Please? Please? No? No, I can't? Alright. So, yeah, they have brown duct tape there, basically. But yes, they're what I was saying is like clear packing tape is actually better than duct tape for mailing packages. What can be even better is like I don't know if they call it packaging tape or what do they freaking call it. It's like this reinforced stuff. I'm sure you've encountered it in your life at some point. Filament strapping tape is apparently, yeah, it's called strapping tape. Reinforced strength shipping strapping tape. Then they also have box lock now, which is it's like a paper tape, a reinforced paper tape for doing packages. I think that's been like a more recent thing. Yeah, and some of this is like a water activated tape. Like as in, it's not sticky natively. They probably have a dispenser that wets the tape, or either wets the box and puts the tape on it, or wets the. Usually this stuff is it's like clear or translucent. And if you're like packing up a box to like store it, I would say it's not a bad idea to use that stuff. It's much more durable. Though realistically, if you're taping up a box, if you're doing it correctly, the box tape shouldn't be doing anything more than keeping it shut, because the box itself, the design of the box, is made so that this thing's sharp. I mean, it's brand new. This is the first thing we're cutting open with it. It is sharp. I swear this thing's sharper than the other ones. So yeah, tape, I guess a bit of a tape info, tape, I don't say lecture, but like, use the right tape for the right job, because clear packaging tape is actually designed to stick to this cardboard finish. I wouldn't say like this looks like duct tape, and it kind of is. It's more like the older school duct tape that wasn't actually used for ducts, because if you use it ducting, you're going to use aluminum tape, like the you peel the back off of aluminum tape, not duct tape. In the U.S., it's a less duct tape and more duck D-U-C-K tape. Those are different things. Duct tape loses a lot of the strength, like the physical strength from the fibers, than duct tape, because it doesn't have, like if you saw like crisscrosses in here, that is not in duct tape. It's actually perforated to make it easier to rip. Whereas, and you saw with a sharp blade, duct tape is nothing. I was cutting this. It's just interesting for me. Let's see here. We have Yayoi solo project. I'll have to check that out. Yayoi is the lead singer of TsuShiMaMiRe. I believe that is the correct way to say that. TsuShiMaMiRe. Looks like Yayoi has a solo project called Ferret Noise, which makes sense. She's got 2 albums. I looked up, there was Moon. I looked down, there was a Town. So I'll have to download those. I did not know she had a solo project. That's really cool that it's included in here. I picked up the Live in Germany album right here, vinyl record. Didn't have that one. I have this in tape, I think, maybe CD as well. But then their new album, Mizumono, just came out. I say just 3/13. Took a bit for everything to release and then to get from Japan to here. So, in here is actually the Mizumono album on cassette. And you're like, why'd you get cassette? Well, they didn't have a vinyl yet. To be truthful, I would rather have the vinyl. But like, why didn't you get the CD? Well, because this is bought through Bandcamp. So when I bought the vinyl, I got the digital version of the Live in Germany 2022. And when I bought the cassette, I got the digital album for Mizumono as well. So I was actually already listening to it. This is more like the collector's piece. And it's like, it's kind of cooler to, for some people at least, cooler to collect the cassette or the vinyl, because it's giving you a different means of playback. Because realistically, what's a CD? It's just basically FLAC files that aren't ripped yet. That's what a CD is. Now, you're like, hey, Profist, you say that, but what's that down there? That's a CD. This is the same as this. No, this is 2001. This is 2021. Also, this one right here and this one right here, only ever released on CD for this and tape on this. Didn't even know this existed until I tried finding that. Or something like this. If you're gonna buy the CD, in my opinion, buy the limited edition. get the one with the cool thing, or with Cinema Staff, they'll even, if you pay more on the Bandcamp, they'll even sign it for you, and it's not even that much more. It's like $5 or $10 more. And all that generally goes, because it's on Bandcamp, it goes straight to the artist. Unless there are labels on there. But still, like, think about it. They just got to sign it, you can give 5 or 10 more bucks. You're paying probably that to ship it over anyway. Like, you're paying 20, 30 bucks, maybe 15 if you're using, like, the cheap ships via a boat. It takes more than a month to get there. Time. Oh, here's another one. Lost Stage Pilgrim. I bought this. Where the fuck's the CD? Okay, if you see the case broke, which is annoying because this is a generic jewel case. That was one of the cats. But they actually customized it with like stickers and smaller stuff. Like they made it themselves. Okay, found the CD. Still in the CD player. Nearly had a heart attack. I found the CD. Yeah, I'm very bummed at the cats. Normally I don't care when they break a jewel case because all jewel cases are the same. Except, of course, they broke the one that isn't the same because, like the artists themselves stuck on, that's a sticker, and I'm not going to try and remove it. That's just going to wreck it. And then the back side is the same way. This is like a parchment paper insert that could be moved over, but like the actual labeling there is, that's also a sticker on the back there. It's like a paper sticker, looks like. So yeah, grumpy me. Because, of course, the cats break... Here's an Olive Garden one. Using a standard jewel case with, like, a black insert, I think. I could go and get a new jewel case, like, from my shelf over there for that. Of course, though. They gotta break the one that I can't replace, right? In this case, though, Lost Stage Pilgrim, they no longer, after COVID, release anything digitally online. And even their CDs... they only do at because they own a record store and they have like a sister record store. They only release them. They only sell them at those two places or at their concerts. I bought this from somebody on eBay, actually from the US, that went to Japan. I don't get this. They went to Japan, bought this, which means they purposely bought it, because Lost Stage isn't that niche, but they're fairly indie. Like I said, you see they put this together themselves. Like, you would have to know to either go to, and I think he said he went to their record store and bought it, because they have Throat Records, which is also like they sell all kinds of music and stuff like that. It's like a local record store, and bought it there, brought it back home, and then sold it on eBay, for like, I think less than it would have cost me to buy it from a reseller in Japan and then have it shipped here for. I'm guessing that's because people didn't know about it. Some early copies went for a ton of money on eBay because people had already imported them in the US and then reselling them, they could make money. Even in Japan, because this album was hard to get, and they do have somewhat of a following, they were using one of the reselling sites in Japan that was popular. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of it is. Stuff like that escapes me at times. But they even addressed it in like their podcast or blog or something, and being like, "Hey, could you not be like that? We purposely are like, if you do, you suck, basically, as a human. We're trying. The reason why we're doing this is because we want people to come to our live venues. That's how we want people to enjoy it. As in, you come to the live venue, you enjoy the music. We're playing the new album, and then if you liked the concert, you go and buy it when you leave, sort of thing. That's what they're aiming for." Or we're trying to encourage people, travel to our record store and, come and buy the album from us. sort of thing. We make all, like, they literally make all of them. They print all the stuff off, they put it on parchment paper. I think they get the CDs pressed. They are officially pressed. But other than that, like, they're making the packaging and everything. So it kind of makes sense. And they're like, we will not release that album until they release and tour for their new album. Then you'll be able to buy that one online. Hey, I remember, like, they, generally speaking, didn't have anything on streaming or anything either. Like, Lost Stage didn't. Except during COVID, they said for a 1-year period, and it was that, they put it, because they couldn't have their record store open, to make money and have income, they took all their stuff and put it on Bandcamp. I bought all of it to support them. And you're like, why would you do that? Don't you already have? Yeah, I have a lot of them on CDs. But it was a way to buy it directly from them and get them directly money, and have a digital copy that's like a legal digital copy, you know, and support the band. So some of you be like, oh, I want my money. They would now. Okay, that's how, like, Japan is. I can understand why the band has a reasoning. They're doing it this way. They want you to experience that album, if possible, first time live, and then if you like it, buy the album, sort of thing. You know, makes sense to me, to be truthful. Like, if they're going as more of an art thing or whatever, and you know, music is art. That makes sense. However, I live in not Japan. Thus, I was very happy to get that. Very grumpy about the kitten over there that probably knocked it over and cracked that piece of plastic off the case. Not the end of the world. The disc was fine. Didn't even fall out of the case. Don't ask me how they managed to do that. Probably her and King fighting. But for stuff like that, like, that's where I'm saying, like, I would almost, if they have digital stuff available, I would almost rather have, like, the more collectible, like the tape, or especially the vinyl, because that gives you a different experience than just listening to a digital playback. Playing a CD still has, if you play it off the CD, still has a vibe to it, because you're still getting an album out, putting it on there, probably listening to the whole album. I did find, like, a good priced CD player with optical out off of AliExpress. I want to say it was like $40 or $50. Normally, what that's called is, it's called a I was gonna say a traveler. Nope, not a traveler. A brain. It's called a CD. CD play. Transport. There we go. Not traveler. Transport. CD transport. And normally those are very expensive. The cheapest one is like $250, I think, for an audiophile one, and that one's actually known to have issues on other audiophile forums, and they've still sold it for years after, even though people found that, and I don't believe it's patched. And I was like, well, why would I buy that if it has a known, like, it CDs are like a certain bit depth, it only, like, misses a bit or something, which causes, like, on a lot of things, incorrect playback or incorrect rendition. When literally a transport just has optical out, not an amplifier, that should be bit perfect, because the CD player isn't even doing the decoding. The DAC is. Now, a lot of those still do have DACs in and blah, blah, but you can get that raw output out of it. I think one of the other, like, the very well-known ones that have been around for years is like $400. So the fact that you can get one that's got, it's real small, cheap, powers off USB. I just want to listen to it. I don't care that it's in a hi-fi thing. So, but still, that way I can put on a CD. And you're like, what do you mean by put on a CD? Who the fuck does that anymore? You just use Spotify. There's a different vibe to going over to your shelf, picking out a vinyl or picking out a CD, looking at the album art, or grabbing a cassette, putting it in there, you know, rewinding it if you have to, playing it, flipping it over, etc. There's a different vibe to that than there is to just, like, you know, either you can grab it up. Even the iPod has a different vibe. You know, if I grab my iPod 5.5 Gen Classic here, I will say the screens on these. The screens on these reproduction covers that are really cool, like the clear here. Even playing on here is different than just going on Deezer or Spotify and just hitting play, you know. each one's like a bit less intimate, but it's still more intimate than just like getting it off of a streaming service, because you have to pick the music that you're putting on here, or at a minimum you're editing the metadata to put it on here, or curating a collection you're putting on here, rather than just having everything right at the fingertips. I have a kitten on my shoulder. See, guess where she jumped from. So that's why I do it that way. But then I still, especially when driving or working, I can't necessarily do that, right? What are you? What did you knock down? This is part of. Where did you even get this kitten? Where'd this come from? This is like a switch puller. She just pulled it out from between the bed and the cart. Where'd you get that? You're gonna eat it now. You don't think cats are supposed to eat metal pieces of things? Ah! Right in the tummy! She got me right in the tummy with the paw! With the claw! Dang kitten. But yeah, so that's why I do it that way. Is you buy the more, like, you know, get the vinyl for your collection, and then if you buy it on a place like Bandcamp, or maybe you just stream it. You know, maybe it's you still listen to it on Spotify regularly, but you know, you have this as part of one of these two as part of your. Holy shit, cat! You are gonna knock everything off the cart again, and you're like, yeah, like, why don't you put the shit away in the cart? I tell you what, things have been a little crazy around here. We're finally finally the server's back up and running. All the hardware is good. Still testing all the hard drives. None of the hard drives currently in the server have failed, but I would like to, before I call it A-OK perfect, is verify they're actually good. And you're like, well, how do you do that? Well, you get an extra one. Remember, I don't have any extras because 7 of my 12 died, so I had to buy new ones. And in some cases, I had to buy newer, smaller drives just to check them, because what I do is I take the brand new drive, throw it in my other server, pre-clear it, 3 passes, okay, it's good. Swap it in place of the one that's in the server currently, pull that one out, put it in there pre-cleared. As long as that passes, put it back in the server, pull the temporary one out, swap it for a different one. You know, like say I've got 3 8 terabytes in there. Well, you do it 3 times, because I want to do the pre-clear on those drives to make sure they're still good. And that can take many hours. And then with that, I'm still restoring my data to it. Then you throw on there deer hitting car, mom breaking ankle. Yes. So the pile of CDs. Yeah, that gets done when it gets done. What would be great, though, is if the kitten didn't knock them over while I'm trying to get to everything. You know? Yep. So yeah, any questions, comments, throw them down below. This is more of like a why I ordered this. If your band's on Bandcamp, support them there, dude. That's where they get the most money. And if you buy it on a Friday, I don't know if it's every Friday or one Friday a month, that's Bandcamp Friday. They get 100% of the cut. Bandcamp does not take fees, at least if it's digital. I don't know about the physical goods, because this is considered merch, even though this is like in some cases I think it's considered merch, even though it's a physical one. Sometimes they're not. It's kind of weird. But I'm going to check out Yayoi's solo project, Ferret Noise, and see if they're on Bandcamp, and see if I can get their music. Yep, ferretnoise.bandcamp.com. Guess what? Yayoi's going to get some of my money right after this. If you guys have any questions or want suggestions on some artists to listen to, I listen to a couple different genres, go pretty deep into certain various things. Also, I guess just because I like a certain genre doesn't mean I like every artist in that genre. If anything, I kind of like artists more than I like genres. You know, and there are some artists that you'd be like, well, you listen to that? Yep. I don't know. There was just something about them that I liked, and went in that direction. Now, sometimes that band will then lead to another band. Like Number Girl, really liked them. They led to Bloodthirsty Butchers, Zazen Boys, Llama, a bunch of other bands. It got me in there because of a friend recommended Number Girl, as being like, they kind of had a similar vibe. I believe it's post-hardcore, but it's similar vibe to a certain Pillows album. And I'm like, oh, this is like awesome, but in its own way. And then like I said. So that's how I do things. Let me know how you do music down below. How do you discover different things you should listen to and try out? For me now, I'm kind of established in the bands I listen to, so when I find a new one that I like, that it's a fine day. It's a fine day. See you in the next one. Peace.